that was 98, 99. And back in, like I said, 99, December 99, I had made a decision. I needed to fulfill one of these dreams. And what made me honestly go towards more the pilot was that in 99, it was around Christmas, Airbus 300. I was a purser, and I'd mentioned, I don't know, I just mentioned to one of the captains, I don't remember his name, and I told him, yeah, I really like your job, and I think what you guys do is fascinating. I'm thinking about going to flight school. And I've mentioned this to some people. He looked at me from top to bottom, and he walked away. This was
Oh,
like around before this, about December 21st to 22nd of 1999. That's what he did.
wow.
One of our crusty senior captains at
Yeah.
the Legacy
This is
Airlines.
before
That's what he did. He gave me
the
that look like, please,
yeah,
right.
no letter 32 here or
So,
whatever.
yeah. And I was like, that mofo. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, stuff like that doesn't, it doesn't upset me. It just makes me stronger. So on January 16th of 2000, I enrolled in flight school.
Nice.
Two
And where
weeks
did you
later, 2.5
enroll?
weeks later. I went to Florida Suncoast. First of all, I got a student loan through the credit union,
Hmm.
and I also got a student loan through Sallie Mae.
Hmm.
I was trying to do it on loans, although I had my real estate investing. I had not sold my property yet. So Florida Suncoast Aviation, which was in Hollywood North Perry Airport in Florida. I got my private there, and then I didn't get my instrument because September 11th happened.
Mm.
So I didn't get my instrument until November of 2001, and I got it at ATA Flight School. It was
Okay.
the same school at the airport. It was
Yeah.
a different school at the airport.
Yeah.
Florida Suncoast, after I'd gotten my private pilot's license, was being investigated for embezzling by the FBI.
Great.
They were, yeah, they were taking student loans. They were not giving the student loans back, and I know no, they were doing some embezzling. They closed the school down. But you
Yeah.
can Google this. The owner
Yeah.
went to jail,
Yeah.
and I was happy that that happened after my private pilot's license. So
Yeah.
anyway, I got my instrument, and I have quite story. I had a lot of stories on it. I got my instrument rating at ATA at
Mhm.
North Perry Airport, and I got my commercial airborne systems, another flight school, um, up at what is it? They changed the name of it, Fort Lauderdale Executive.
Mhm.
Then I got my CFI at Opelika at a school called Epic. And the owner of Epic Flight School is now an Airbus uh, pilot for the Legacy here.
Nice.
So I see him sometimes, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And I got my multi-engine, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I got my multi-engine at Clyde's Multi-Engine, which closed like 4 years ago in Dallas, Texas, in 4 days.
Ah. So
I
you
went
really
to
hopped
very
around. You didn't
different
stick
schools.
with one school in particular. You kind of just said, okay, I'm going to do this program over here and this program over there. Was there a reason for that, or was it just the way it worked out?
Well, Florida Suncoast, obviously, I would prefer to finish all my ratings there, but they got closed down and the owner
Right.
went to jail because of embezzlement.
Right.
After September 11th, ATA was having some problems. They opened up. They went, they closed unfortunately for a while, and they
Mhm.
were opened up under a different management because after September 11th, as you know, a lot of these flight schools went under.
Right.
Um, then comes Airborne Systems. Airborne Systems Flight School, which closed down as well. I was able to get my commercial there, and I was going to continue my CFI there, but I didn't know their future. I didn't
Oh,
know if they were going to stay
yeah.
open, so I decided to go to another flight school that was closer to home,
So really, it was because
which
of
was
the
Epic.
the economy and
The
the
economy.
effects from
Yeah.
9/11 and how flight schools were struggling. And I remember that time very well because I actually started the bulk of my training after 9/11. I started my private and my instrument stuff before, but ended up going to a flight school after 9/11. And it was one of the flight schools that was shut down by the FBI because they actually trained four
See
of
that?
the terrorists.
See that?
And their pictures
Yeah.
were
See that?
immediately collected from the
Yeah.
FBI and taken down from the wall. They used to have all the student photos, 8x10s of all the student photos up on the
Yep.
wall. And you could just look and their name was there. So you knew if you were coupled to fly with somebody, you could see what they look like. You can meet them out on the flight line. The FBI came in one day after 9/11, shut the doors, put a padlock on it, took those photos, and walked out with all the records. And yeah, and that's the school I attended. So.
Would you believe that 20 years later, none of the flight schools I went to are open?
Yeah, I would, because none of the flight schools
None
I
of
went to are
them.
open. I mean, it's kind of like a bar. Bars don't last very long. They just.
Well, after September 11th, it really hurt the industry, especially with the flight schools.
Yeah.
Tried in the beginning.
Yeah.
I instructed for about 300 hours, and the way I did my instruction after I got my CFI is I bought an airplane.
Yeah, nice.
I had a 172M. Yeah, I had a 172M model.
Where was it parked?
1973. Opelika first, and then North Perry. And I regret selling that airplane. I sold it 5 years ago.
Oh, not too long ago. You had it quite a long time. I saw pictures on your social account there, you and your baby.
Yeah, I called her Shantiqua because she was in the ghetto and she was old. Shantiqua, that was her name.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're trained 3 to 4 years, part-time training, working as a flight attendant for Legacy the whole time, and being able to pay for your training through both student loans and with investments and whatnot, and buying an airplane and stuff. And a really smart way to do it, not the traditional kind of cookie cutter, pilot farm way of doing it. And that always, believe it or not, even though I went to a pilot farm, okay, I'm the first to admit it, but anyone that breaks out of that mold and kind of sees outside the box and carves a path that's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging, but a lot more rewarding in the end, I think they usually their experiences define the quality of their airmanship, their decision making, because they didn't just go and stay within the yellow lines. They were able to kind of do what you do. What you did with all this, and that's really an amazing way to do it. And I applaud you for that. It's a wonderful story. What were the biggest challenges you had during that time?
Building time. I would say the time building. I mean, I've done flights that I probably would never do again. Back then, there was a gentleman at North Perry Airport who owned a Piper Apache, and he didn't fly. But what he did is he would sell his time to guys who wanted to buy like 100 block hours. So you'd pay him, and back then it was like $5,000. You can't get that today.
Yeah.
But that Piper Apache, the left engine was the critical engine was very close to TVO.
Oh.
So my foot was always on that right rudder, ready to go. Ready to go. And it's interesting because one of the guys who was flying the airplane had the engine failure on it. And he made the news. Coming from, I want to say it was Bimini, who he happens to be a captain now at he's Italiano.
Hey,
Paolo. Yeah, Paolo. He's
Is he JetBlue?
He went to work at one of the regionals, and now he's a captain because he had an Italian passport. Not Emirates. What's the other airline? Etihad. He's an Airbus captain at Etihad now.
Wow.
A 330. Yeah. He left. He is it Chautauqua? Was it one of those regionals he worked for a couple of years?
Chautauqua, St. Louis.
Passport. I think it was Chautauqua. Yeah.
Chautauqua traditionally did a lot of the work visas from people who are in Europe. Okay. I've actually had the pleasure to interview a few people that started their career by coming over from Europe and landing a job after training with Chautauqua in St. Louis. So it's actually a very common thing that they were doing at the time.